All right, so April to June, pretty much, it just worked, and started planning, I guess, for leaving the job. That is, so in June, I left that restaurant job because it was just not. It's probably a dumb idea. In all honesty, like I'm not suggesting that if you have a job that's paying your bills and keeping you fed, that you should just like leave it for any reason. In fact, I think the smartest thing to do is to take the job you have and then in your off time build skills that you have to get you further, without compromising where you live or health insurance or whatever that may be. But for me at the time, it seemed like a good idea for a host of different reasons. And it's kind of a wash. Like it wasn't a bad idea. It wasn't a good idea. It just kind of is what it is, looking backwards now. But I think the first thing that I did was kind of consider the skills that I already had. Those are like hard skills, like actual skills in the industry that I'd chosen. So I guess more like the first thing that I did was I chose a really specific industry that I want to get into. Right? For me, that's digital marketing. And then within that, I ended up having to choose something more specific to become good at, really good at, which I would suggest for anything that you do. Even doctors, right? They have specialties, right? But anybody can become a doctor. But what are you a doctor of? What do you practice, and what do you do? What are you an expert in, right? A medical clinic doesn't want to hire a doctor of theology. They want to hire a medical practitioner, right? Just like for my industry, a apparel company doesn't want to hire a that has a great website. They're not going to hire like a web designer, or something like that. They want somebody that specializes in PPO, or sorry, SEO. PPO, it's insurance policy plan. They want somebody that specializes in SEO or PPC. They want somebody that specializes in Facebook ads marketing or content marketing, content creation, copywriting. Like there's tons and tons and tons and tons of specialties or subspecialties. So the first thing I did, I selected an industry I wanted to work in. The next thing I did was start to understand that industry as best as I could, because you don't know about all the subspecialties and sort of the niche type of jobs inside an industry unless you kind of study it and learn it sort of from the inside out. Like I said in the past video, I have experience doing this. So I had, foundation, I had a little bit of footwork. I don't have a ton of experience, but I have experience from building websites and doing like a little bit of my own like content marketing, digital design stuff for those websites and whatnot. So I just dove right in and built my personal brand website, kind of created a name that I wanted to call it. And then I got into, built out the social platforms for those: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, that type of stuff. That's important for somebody like me. It may not be important for somebody like you. However, I'll tell you later why those accounts can be really, really, really useful in finding a job in almost any industry. Right after that, I focused on really building from the best website possible for me. I wanted to showcase like what I could do for somebody else, but I needed to do it in the shortest amount of time in order to get on the ground, in order to get running, get moving. Again, I am the epitome of active procrastination, meaning I will find a task and work it to death. Like I will keep hammering at that task and not really putting myself out there. I'm the perfect example of somebody that would like to present a perfect product instead of any product. I think that's a bad way to go about it, in all honesty. I think that getting your information out there is more important than it's quantity over quality in a way. Not to say you should just go start throwing shit out there, because you can create a bad reputation for yourself, or any number of possibilities that could end up not working out for you. But once you have the minimum viable product, get it out there. It's the best thing you can do, 100%. So after that, I got into sort of educating myself a little bit more. I knew that I wanted to get into digital marketing, but it's such a broad sort of career path, right? It's such a broad job that, I needed to choose sort of a couple specific sub jobs or subspecialties or niches that I'd be good at. One of them for me happens to be like copywriting. It's like, okay, I'm not the best at copywriting. There's a lot of people who are way fucking better, but I'm pretty good at writing. Another one is digital content creation, right? So digital design is what I meant to say. And that's not too crazy. It's not too hard to learn and to get into. There's a whole bunch of tools you can get that are free. But I decided to kind of focus on what my strengths were. None of this writing, it's design. That is, and also kind of numbers, I guess, like and strategy. So that's ads. And I think one of the best things you could do for digital marketing is teach yourself Facebook ads, Google ads. A lot of companies are really, really focused on hiring people or agencies that have certain certifications from Facebook or Google, which is Facebook Blueprint, and then Google AdWords, Google Search certificates, things like that. And they're not necessarily easy to get, but they're both, you don't have to go to college for them. Let's put it that way. They're all available online. Google's free. The Google certificates are all free. The education's free. Facebook is not free, but the education is free. So the exam costs money, but the education is free. They're not necessary or critical, but educating yourself on it, if you don't have experience, is pretty fucking important. Like, you don't want to get a job or get hired or even interview for someplace that is specifically asking for an ads expert and you don't know anything about ads. That's just reckless and stupid. That being said, I moved from sort of educating to building, or educating myself, to building up my sort of system. Because at the time I was planning on doing my own like digital agency. It wasn't so much like getting a job at the time. So this is like July. I started looking at like what free tools are available to sort of build out an agency. I started thinking about what I would need, what kind of tools. It's the CRM software, which is like customer management software that's going to track, potential leads, their information, emails, phone numbers, deals, prospects, like, where people are at. And I was trying to create a sales pipeline. And I was using HubSpot and a notebook, like a physical lined notebook, to do it. And I'm diving really far into just like the digital marketing aspect of it. But the reason I'm doing that is kind of to explain sort of what my efforts were just specifically for this, for people that are interested in digital marketing. But I want to cover like at a higher level the sort of overall efforts you need to put in. And you may not have that many tools, and it may not feel like you could really go any direction you want, because you don't have like the resources, like you don't have the money. For me, I don't have the money, I don't have the car. I forgot to mention, I don't even have a phone. Like, here, this is what I do have. I have this broken Android that my girlfriend gave me like 3 months ago or something. I don't have service on it. I use the Wi-Fi at the house for like everything. If I have to make calls, I have to borrow a phone from my roommate. So like, I'm pretty well fucked, it would seem, on a lot of things. But I know that I'm not. That's because of past experience, and because I believe that it's possible, right, to get to where I want to go. So you also may not be sitting on a ton of like resources and assets and stuff. I actually am going to show probably in another video what I have left over in terms of like tools and stuff from things I was trying to do in the past, like podcasts, like a mic and recording thing and whatnot. But like, I really don't have much. I just have this like MacBook that I'm using to record this, and couple pairs of headphones, stuff like that. Real basic stuff. Things that like most people would have if you're actively looking for a job. So anyway, we've talked about considering like what you want to do. That's great. Okay. But let's like talk about how to get into action. So that's like the most important thing here. You can consider what jobs you want. You talk about it. You can hypothesize about like what would be great and all this shit. But like it doesn't fucking matter if you don't actually try. Like if you don't start doing something. So the first thing that I did after deciding what career path I wanted to try to take was to develop the most complimentary resume possible for the job I decided to start applying for. And what I mean by complimentary is finding exactly what skills are required for that job and then comparing it to skills I already have. Okay. Try to learn the skills that I need to learn and then put it on paper. That's all a resume really is. It's just a paper explanation of what you're good at or allegedly good at, which we'll go into some other time. But do this. This is what I did, step by step. Okay. I went onto Indeed.com, onto the job board. I typed in the job I was looking for, and I looked at all the skills that the job postings required. I did digital marketing. You're going to do medical device sales or fucking pineapple slicer, whatever it is you want to do. Right? Go find out what exactly they want from you in a position like this. Because like I said before, you can say, oh, I want to do digital marketing, but like, what does that mean? Right? There's tons of different sub jobs and shit. Okay, so you say, all right, good. I'm good at like Facebook ads management. Right? That's what I want to do. I know about it. I took a certificate course, bought a course on Udemy or some shit for like $20. I'm good to go. Let's start applying for jobs. Well, being that you're new in this, you don't know what an employer actually wants on a resume or out of an employee. So I personally, I'll go to Indeed. This applies for any job whatsoever that you plan on getting. Go to Indeed, search your area or search the area that you want to like maybe move to or something if you can. But what you need to do is just start looking in a really broad way at, the jobs that you think that you either are qualified for or want to become qualified for, and figure out what the specific itemized points are that they want. They'll list it out in very, very plain English, like what they expect, like what the absolute minimum requirements are. Well, minimum, because most people will settle for less if the price is right. We'll get into that some other time. But like find out like the minimum requirements are just in general. Okay. Open like 10, 15, 20, in my case, like hundreds of, job listings. Because it doesn't matter, because you're not really at first going to be applying for these jobs. We're still we got a long ways to go before you do that. So just figure out what are the basic requirements. Like Facebook ads is going to ask you to know about like KPIs, right? It's going to ask you to know about like metrics and analytics and like pixel and retargeting, all this very specific stuff. For your industry, that may be different. In fact, it is different because it's a different industry, but now you get the idea. All right. Find out what the specific parts are to the machine that they expect to be delivered to their office. Like you are human capital, right? You are a tool for them to use. So what is the function of the tool, right? You would need to figure out what that is so that you can either learn it, or if you already have the skills, how to phrase it appropriately for your resume. A lot of companies, a lot of recruiters, a lot of automated systems, in fact, are just looking for these specific keywords, very specific like keywords related to the industry. If you don't know how to phrase it appropriately, if you've never applied for a job at this new high level you're going for, or in this new industry you're trying to break into, then even if you have the skills but you don't know how to put on the resume in words that are relevant to a recruiter, to a customer, or sorry, to a company, to a AI system that they're using to filter out applications, then you probably won't get a call back. So let's start by figuring out what are the core requirements, and then from there either learn the new skills, or if you have the skills already, let's start putting them down in a resume. Let's build a resume. There's free tools out there. I talk about free tools a lot. I love free shit. It's my favorite. If you, especially for like one-off things, for like resume building or like I don't know, design, whatever it is. Like if there's a tool that has like a 7 day like fucking free use policy or something, or like trial, like go for it. Like let's go. Free shit is dope. Anyway, Google Docs. Boom. If you've never built a resume, you need to learn how, like immediately. Best way to do it is to load like Google Docs or fucking Microsoft Office or some shit. Start with one of their templates. All right. Just like look at how they structured it and go off of that, you know. So going forward from that was I had to really look at what some of my weaknesses were and how to fill in those weaknesses, make them strengths, right? How to sort of, or at least be prepared to overcome them with other strengths that I may have. Some companies I found are not even really aware of what they're really, really looking for. They may say they want a digital content creator. It's a really generic term, but what they actually want is somebody to run their Facebook ads. Those are not exactly the same thing. So just be aware of that. All right. So right after that, I went over to Reddit. Believe it or not, Reddit is like fucking dynamite. It's fire for getting information either that you need, or getting examples of stuff, getting things reviewed, just getting insights and advice. It's kick-ass, man. Reddit is one of the most, to me, like socially like underused tools online. Like it blows me away how many people don't know about Reddit. Well, I mean, a lot of people do. Yeah, it's true. But like in social circles and stuff, like it's not like talked about the way like it's like Instagram or any of like the vanity social media things are. I find it like a super dope resource for getting questions answered, getting things reviewed, sort of helping people and getting help in return, all of that good stuff. Reddit has, you know, an entire subreddit devoted to resumes, get resumes reviewed, get advice, you know, look at other people's, fucking steal their shit if you fucking are a scumbag, you know, go for it, whatever. Anyway, so set up your resume, build it out like kind of as best as you can. You know, I'm not an expert again on like resumes and stuff, so I don't want to go like super far into it, but that's a really solid way to start. And what it'll do is help you understand like what you have and what you are missing. So when you are comparing, like, here's my resume, and it is a list of skills basically that I have and experience that I have. Here's a list from Indeed or from other like job sites or job boards of what skills are required to get this said job. Like, do they line up? What skills do and which ones don't? Maybe you have some strengths that are, you know, complementary to the position that you're looking for that are not listed in there. Well, that's great. Maybe you have some deficits, some things that you need that are listed on, you know, the job. Learn. Let's go. Google is a powerful tool, right? So the goal is like to continually be assessing your skills and building on your weaknesses. We're going to try to get as strong in our weaknesses as possible, only so that we can discover more weaknesses as we grow and move forward. That is it. Period. You need to uncover as many weaknesses as quickly as possible so that you can overcome those obstacles in the application process, the interview, in the job itself, whatever, and never stop learning and trying to figure out how you can be better, because the goal is not just to sit in whatever position you get. The goal is to always grow and expand. So shit, 10 minutes goes by really quick, and I feel like only thing we talked about was resumes. I gotta get better at this. Let's just like jump right into applying. That's super, super important to do, because again, if you just sit on it, you're never going to do anything at all. Like, you may feel like you're under skilled or, you know, not capable or something, but like, fuck it. Like, we're throwing Hail Marys 100%. So, you know, and again, like I said, this is not like the best advice ever. This is just what's worked for me. Start applying. Go to Indeed, go to job boards, go to wherever. Let's just start like putting in those applications. Like find them, put in the applications, make a really good cover letter if you can. In my case, I would write sort of custom cover letters, and then I would build on my website. I would build like a custom landing page, and then I would link that landing page to the company I was applying for, right? The companies I have been applying for. So what that means is that it's a URL, takes them to my website, and on that page is, again, basically a digital version of my resume. I include like a picture of me in the bottom, just looking stupid in the jungle in Asia, because it makes it a little bit more personal. And I think it makes it a little more interesting for recruiters or for companies, managers, hiring managers, HR, whoever. They're going through shit, paper resumes, digital resumes all day long. If you can take them to a website with some cool graphics, a couple good images, something like that. It's also a really good way to showcase their or your certifications, anything you've picked up, any certs that you might have. Let's do that. Let's put those on the bottom of the landing page, things like that. And if you can't do it, or it's too expensive, or for whatever reason don't want to, like, fuck it, don't do it. It's not a big deal. But for me, it's kind of important. The next thing after that, LinkedIn. Like, get on LinkedIn, period. It is not only a really useful job sourcing tool, it's a really good way of networking with business professionals in any industry. Doesn't matter what industry it is. It could be fucking farming turnips, all right? Or, I don't know, just whatever you can imagine. It's on LinkedIn. There's people marketing, networking, connecting, building relationships. It's beautiful. Super underrated, especially by young people. It used to be an old man's game, sort of business professionals, like suits, ties, only. Now it's become a very high functioning, high performing way for anybody of any age to get access to, industry, professionals, thought leaders, information, whatever. There's a great jobs board on there too. Dopest part about LinkedIn is that it's free. So get on LinkedIn, check in, see what's going on, optimize your profile, make it clear that you are available for work and you're looking for work. Add all the information, fill it out. They literally will guide you through the entire process of completing your profile. Just do it to the best of your ability. All right. From there, the next step is to keep going. Like, there is not a perfect kind of next step from there, and it really depends on everybody and how well you have kind of created the initial, how well you've completed the initial steps. So like if you've half-assed your resume, for example, and you half-ass like a LinkedIn profile and you half-ass all your efforts, none of the shit's gonna work, But if you've got like a resume you did to the best of your ability, by the time you get to the LinkedIn steps, right, you've done applications, you get to like LinkedIn, you complete your profile there, like you'll have more knowledge to be able to go back and like revise and rewrite maybe some parts of your resume, make it even better, right? You'll have, just through osmosis, you'll have picked up some more skills, right? And some more kind of experience, maybe some more verbiage, some better words, some better phrasing, some key points you should really highlight on a resume, and that's killer. So go back. I will always do iterations of stuff. So I'll start with one thing, get to like 2 more steps ahead, and then revisit that step that's like critical, because critical step in this is the resume. So I'll go back, revisit the resume. Let's rebuild it. Let's customize it. Find a new place I want to apply for. Let's really try to optimize it specifically for that position, that employer, that job, right? And then I go back to the application process, apply to that job, right? Then I go back to like LinkedIn and I connect with people from that company, okay? And in the connection message, the custom message you can send, will say, hey, I've just applied for a job. I hope we can connect regardless of the outcome. I hope I can help you in some way in the future. Real generic, real simple, but still doing something. And worst case scenario is they connect with you, acknowledge that you are in the job market, or that you've applied, and that's that. You have another LinkedIn connection. You've built your network just a little bit more. And we're just going to keep doing that over and over and over and over again. Like, we are lucky enough to live in a day and age where with very minimal physical effort, you can apply to hundreds of jobs and get responses back within days, sometimes within hours. You know, that's probably the most wonderful part about all of this, is that you can do it all from home. I mean, I've done it from my fucking tiny bedroom, you know. So that's where we're at. That's also pretty much like where I am at right now. So what I want to do is I'm gonna actually go eat some food, I think. But in the next video, I'm going to kind of explain exactly where I'm at right now.